Well, Duke is our greatest composer of the 20th century, American bard, covered more music, recorded 800 albums, over 2,000 compositions, played everywhere in the world, represented us as well as anyone could possibly represent the breadth and diversity of the nation, created an enduring body of music, genius on so many levels, innovative, so many things, blues, harmony, orchestration, how to use solos in the context of a group. I could go on and on and on about him. But the whole thrust of jazz, I grew up in a generation where we didn't play a big band music. We largely played in small bands. I didn't want to play in a big band. But I called Dizzy Gillespie and asked him, do you think I should do this? And he told me, one should never consider it an achievement to lose one's orchestral heritage. So from that, I took it to, we need to learn how to play this music. So we called surviving members of Duke Ellington's great 1955 to 1974 band, the end of Duke's life, and members of the Thad Jones, Mel Lewis Orchestra played at the Village Vanguard. So we had members in their 60s and 70s, members in their 40s and 50s, and me and the members of my septet, we were in our 20s and 30s. And that's how we went about learning how to play the music. It wasn't just hip hop, it's the whole overemphasis on rock and roll is the national identity. And you take just the whole rock and roll thought of Rebel Without a Cause, kids versus parents, all the kind of stuff that it introduced into the culture that was good maybe for 10 years, but it's not a 50 or 60-year vision as we've come to see now. All of these kind of ideas that hip hop became a part of that, but my initial focus was not hip hop. It was what the rock and roll mentality represented. Once again, not the musicians, because musicians are not the ones who are mythologizing it in this way. The marketplace is demanding that. And you can go back into the beginning of jazz and understand that the pressure Benny Goodman got when he was trying to deal with integrating the American public space in the 1930s, it was not from musicians. It was from the system that wanted to stay segregated. We didn't, in my time, we had that, of course, with the contemporary jazz writers. Ironically, they invented like a warfare between us and some downtown musicians, white versus black. It was all stupid and crazy, and it was not grounded in any fact. But by and large, we received unbelievable support from people from all walks of the community. Get this in here, deal with our traditions, play our music, develop the orchestra, build your library. And the one thing that shocked me is how much support we got from people all over the community who were not necessarily involved in jazz. The opposition is important because it makes you stronger. But if you let the opposition, because the opposition also is intelligent, like it's not just fighting you on the same quarter. Here I come to New York, man, I figured I'm getting out of the racism of New Orleans in the South. You come up here and you have people who are not even from your system of segregation, and they're worse than the people in the South. What they're going to write and the way they're going to undermine the greatness of your cause. But you also are going to have people of all races, of all walks, every background come together to support this art form and create something great. And that will not be mythologized the way it should have been. So it's our job to continue to talk about it, what we did, how our coalition was, we were all together. It wasn't just black people or just white people. We were all working on it, and we all continue to work on it. But, foolishness is always something you have to fight against. Well, just in my generation, a lot of those traditions had been lost. But because of my father was such a great educator, and he was always an advocate of doing things and being places, I was able to play in Danny Barker's Fairview Baptist Church Band, which played traditional music. I had a band director who was Armenian American, and he played in a band of all kind of older band directors. On Tuesday night, we would rehearse at University of New Orleans. They played mainly John Philip Sousa marches. So because of him, I would go out and do that. I played the circus, or the type of influences in the music. Largely, we played funk and New Orleans popular music, but we knew and learned a lot of different music. French songs, stuff that my great aunt, my great uncle would sing. Mississippi River songs, church music of all kinds. Mahalia Jackson is from New Orleans. The soil still produced a wide body of music of all kinds. And remember, we were French and we were Spanish and we have Caribbean influence. So if you were open, even in my time, which is, 70s, 60s, 70s, early 80s, you would have had a lot of influences just being there. And I was fortunate to receive a lot of that information. When you don't know your history and you don't even if you taught it, my father taught Afro-American history at Xavier University. It wasn't like I wasn't in the classes with the college students hearing what he was saying. But when you fall into your generation, you have to overcome your generational ignorance, because generations will think things that are, what's the evidence of it? So yeah, my father was like, man, learn one of Pops' solos. So he challenged me to learn a solo. I'd never learned it. I thought, man, this is old handkerchief head music. And I'm from the 60s and 70s. We got our Afro, Black Power. We not Louis Armstrong singing to a horse and all that. We didn't respect that aspect of his personality. When I went to learn that solo, it was on a song called Jubilee from the 1930s. Man, I couldn't make it through the solo because of his endurance and ability to play in a high register for a long amount of time. I mean, keep in mind, these recordings were less than 3 minutes. So it's like 2 minutes and 20 seconds straight of playing. And then from a musician standpoint, I said, man, I got to listen to Pops and understand who he was. Well, the main thing in jazz is you have to have every member must understand the overall form, right? So if you just take an organization with a budget, whatever your division is, you need to understand your percentage of the budget and how the overall works. What your procedures and your processes, the fonts you use on things, what you repeat over and over again. In jazz, there's a lot of repetition. What you repeat over and over and over again is how you train yourself. And then the main thing in jazz is listening. We spend most of our night listening and trusting. So the fundamental, the first is just the numeric accuracy of the music. So just the accuracy that jazz demands, if you really are going to be on a certain level, can be applied to business and the type of numeric rigor that's required to function as a team. Yeah, that's democratic leadership. It's like a flock of geese. They make the calls from the back, right? So you can't. You're. If you really are leading, everybody is leading. Like with our orchestra, my hardest job was we have 15 soloists. So every night I have to program the concert so that all 15 people play at least one time. Now that's a challenge with 10 songs. I knew the orchestra was going to really be great when our trombonist, Chris Crenshaw, who sits in front of me, much younger, he looked at me for the last 2 songs and started to tell me who hadn't played. I said, okay. So then we all started to look out for each other. Well, this person has not played it. Then we start to negotiate the song so that we all make sure everyone plays. Right.
Tell me what you're feeling about democracy now and what jazz needs to teach it.
Now, for us to come into alignment with our American mythology, we are far away from it. We can make all the movies we want to make, making the heroes into the one person with integrity. The level of corruption we're seeing now, we've always been on the way towards it. I'm a nonpartisan attacker of the corruption I see. I've been doing it for 40 years. And what you're seeing in the public space now is the type of arrogance and criminal activity that we were always working our way towards. Now you see it. And the question is, how do the people at large respond to this? Are we going to say, no, we can't? The judicial system is not saving us the way it should. There's a level of corruption that we have to wake up and say, we're tired of this. And if we do it, okay. If we don't, we're going to be just like all other things that could have been something. And it is related to jazz, because in jazz, you can plug the bass amp in, the drummer can play loud, one soloist can play 400 choruses, and the next one can fight by playing 430. The music breaks down. You have to balance your freedom to improvise with restraint that comes with swinging and recognizing other people. Democracy dies when you do not understand the need for leveling and to create wealth for everybody and to see in your neighbor not an enemy, but a friend, and for elites to manage themselves. That's what I have to do as a band leader. I can't say, well, I'm here, I'm going to solo on every tune. Every time somebody plays, it's me. That's not the solution. So yeah, we're in trouble right now, but I'm more invigorated about it. You know, a doctor doesn't go into a place where a lot of people are sick and say, man, a lot of people are sick here. You the doctor, man. Come in and help people. So let's roll up our sleeves. A lot of talking always goes on about democracy. Let's see.